I got this pedal from a friend about a week ago. He just gave it to me. He had a few other pedals that need to be fixed and sold and so on. And as you can see in the first little clip I showed here, this one was looking really terrible. I did a bit of a cleanup on it. There was duct tape residue all the way around it. And it looked like very old, hard duct tape residue. I cleaned it with some alcohol at first, then some diluted purple blast, and that seemed to get it off. So I think I like these because a buddy of mine had one of these years ago that I checked out, and I liked the style of the phase shift. This is a 70s phase shifter, right? This one dates from 78. So I got this one and I was quite happy, but my buddy's own that I first liked had something a bit odd. I found that the whooshing sound, which is what a phaser does, was very non-circular. It's sort of like the up part of the whoosh sounded different to the down part of the whoosh. And maybe some of you will understand what I'm saying. Let's do a small quick clip to show that whoosh that I'm talking about. To exaggerate the effect, let's put on this overdrive. Okay, so now you understand the circular whooshing sound that I mentioned. So the work that I want to do on this is very simple. Any pedal this age will have probably, as you can hear, it works. But there are a lot of electrolytic capacitors in this. And electrolytic capacitors, I know from my tube amp work, are something that dry out and decline in quality and performance over the years, especially as old as this is. What is that? 45 years old? Right, so I'm going to change the electrolytic capacitors in this, probably change the battery clip, and then over here, the power supply input for this, it's usual 9 volt, I guess, but it's kind of like a little headphones jack, a 1/8 inch headphones jack. It's not like the other modern pedals, which use, the familiar type you see in every others, right? So I'm going to make a little adapter that goes from a headphone style jack over to a receptacle so that I could use the same center negative adapter style jacks as this. So I'm going to do those little works now and show you what I get up to, and hopefully there's some improvement in the results. Okay, so this whole structure is made of sheet metal bent around in 2 different U channels, and it comes apart quite simply. Just loosening the nut for this speed control pot loosens the circuit board and so on, and I should be able to pull all of this out. Okay, so I've just twisted it out. Once I got this out of the whole thing, I just bent it around, pivoting on these wires. We have the jacks, the color switch, and the old stomp box here. You can see there's some dust and stuff I need to get rid of. These little capacitors with the blue, dark and lighter blue colors are what I need to replace. There's only 3 of them. I thought there were more. Oh, and I see some sort of burnt looking resistor here, so maybe I could look into that on the schematic and see if I need to change that as well. As we see, it works fine, so I'm curious to know what that is. I got a wacky reading, not too bad. I got a high reading, this should be 33 on the little capacitor I'm testing here, and that's actually not bad. But you know what, it does, the age of this thing, it doesn't make sense leaving in these old electrolytics, so I'm going to go ahead and change these anyway. This is the new one. I've popped in a new one here and I'm about to solder that in place. Okay, it's actually labeled right on the board what that is. It's a little 47K half watt. You can see the labeling right there under my fingernail there. So I'm just going to replace that because the old one looks so burnt. And these others are in place, and I'll solder everything at the same time. Just heat the leg first, the junction of the PCB in the leg. Add a little solder, and that's it. Board is wobbling around a bit. Okay, so that's it. I'm just done all these joints and I can start my reassembly. Okay, it's all back together. So 3 capacitors, 1 resistor, and a new battery clip. So let's button it up and see how it sounds, if there's any difference. One thing I immediately notice is that when I turn the effect to the slowest setting, it sounds much slower than before. So hear this, you can almost, it takes too long to almost hear the effect. And I do think it sounds a bit brighter than before. It definitely has a slower range all of a sudden, and I do think that that little quirkiness in the whoosh sound that I described at first has come back. It's like it's not exactly as circular as before. Let's put the overdrive on again and observe it. It sounds so slow that you can hardly tell the phases on, which I like. I like having on an effect where the rate of the effect does not fight against the tempo of the playing and so on. So let's turn this up a bit. There's a kind of a double quirk in that whoosh. At the peak of it, there's a sort of a double peak, which I quite like, I think. Right there, did a kind of a double swirl. There again, you heard it, that sort of double peak. That wasn't part of the overall whooshing sound. So anyway, I'm going to enjoy this. Especially playing clean, I like that kind of quirkiness. So even though it wasn't a huge tone change, I do like the change to the effect itself. It's different than MXR, which is a little too regular for me. And this is going to go on my pedal board and I'm going to have fun, especially in the slow settings. Okay, one last little thing I meant to add in. This is a 1/8 phono jack, and it's hooked up to go into these, which could receive a regular pedal adapter jack, right? And on these, the center pin there is negative, right? So you'll have to be aware when using these that the center pin of this is not connected to the center pin of this. This tip is going to be positive and the body here is going to be negative. On this side, the negative is the little rod inside, and this outside part is positive. So you have to be aware of that when making these things. And this will allow this, with this funny jack here, rather than changing the piece on the body of the pedal, we just have that living with it in the pedal board, you know. You just go like that, and you'd hook this up to your regular pedal supply. So that's it. I'm going to put that into use. Thank you very much for watching.